Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful Happy New Year. Uh, Thought I'd do my second live stream here on YouTube. Just wanted to do it before I go to sleep. I wanted to share something that happened to me today. It's New Year's Day, and I'm still over here in Tarpon Springs. But New Year's Day is a holy day of obligation. So I know back home in the Chicago area, I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know if I'm not really sure, but I wonder if people still are observing the holy day of obligation, or they're like many people in that lockdown city have chosen to stay home. Sad, but not this guy. So I wanted to start off the new year in the right way. So went to mass, got up really early, and here in Tarpon Springs, the nearest Latin mass is about 40 something minutes away in Tampa at the Epiphany Catholic Church over there. So we went to mass there. I thought it was going to be a low mass, because on their website it said low mass, and I thought it was one of the short mass. Some people call it the Get Jesus and Go mass, but I was expecting a low mass, but when we showed up, it was a high mass. I got a little bit lost, and fortunately we made it there before it started, but I had seen all the altar boys outside and the priest, which told me right away, oh, this is going to be high mass. The parking lot was packed. It was just packed, and my first time ever going to that church, first time ever going to church in Tampa. But I wanted to share something with you because it just struck a chord in me. It was a profound experience. Now I got to give you a little bit of background because I'm coming down here. I'm from the Chicagoland area, and our prelates, our bishops there aren't very helpful as far as the faithful, as far as having these sacraments and masses and everything available to everybody. Everybody over there is still in really big lockdown mode. So when I went to mass today, it was I don't know, maybe it was a kind of a shock. It reminded me a few months ago when I went to a Fraternal Society St. Peter Mass up in Illinois, and I had went to that mass. I haven't gone to that church in a while, but when I went to the mass, when I got there, there was no 6 feet apart and all that stuff. Every pew was filled. Some people had mass, some people didn't, and I thought, wow. It was just a whole different experience because the other churches over there in the Chicagoland area that I go to there for the Latin Mass, they're very observant because they're afraid of being shut down and all that. And that Mass, by the way, at the Fraternal Society St. Peter, that was the last time they did that because I understand there was a diocesan priest that was a spy in that church, and he turned the pastor over, I guess, and he got disciplined by the bishop, and so they stopped doing that, and it got to the point where they forbade him to even give communion on the tongue. And being a good priest as he is, he knew the difference. He knew the importance of not receiving communion in the hand because when we believe that the Eucharist, every particle, every part of that Eucharist is the real body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ. So he knew that the slight crumbs that people do when they touch the Eucharist, they fall on the ground, and that's really Christ. People are stepping on him. There's just no going around that. So knowing that, he at that church they had spiritual communions all the time. So I give you that because that was the last time I experienced a church going against the grain, going against what the I guess the new norm is. But when I went to mass this morning, I got to tell you something. It was packed, and I had a, let me show you a picture. When I got inside, of course, being not getting there as early as I would normally get there, there was just nothing left. All the pews were taken, and I ended up going all the way to the back. My family, we were all the way into the back, standing. It was just standing room only. It's hard to explain, so I took a shot at this. So just take a look at how it looked there. See that? That's just, so this is just half the church, and it doesn't show the other half. But you can see, I was there. There had to have been at least 200 plus people there. Okay, and maybe a few people had masks on, and but you get a guy like me coming down here from Chicago and going to mass in this kind of a setting, and I was like, wow. Part of me was refreshing, because I was like, wow, here's people who aren't afraid of practicing our faith, aren't gonna let the bishops or let the government or let anybody hold us back from worship, from the mass. And so it was refreshing at that point, in that respect. But it was also, I got to be honest with you, I was like, wow, all these people so close together. Part of me was thinking, as an outsider coming in, the first impression that a lot of people would think, man, are these people crazy? Don't they know there's a I'll call it a case-demic going on here? Don't they know what's going on? And the part of the, because you live, when you're living in a city like where I'm from, the Chicago area, and that's all you hear around you is just this pummeling of fear, and slowing the spread and all that, and so many months down the road it's still going on. And I'll be honest with you, in the beginning of the year, in April and May, yeah, there was some fear. I was scared. I didn't know what this thing had. I didn't want to get it. I'm hearing, conflicting stories, and it was just, hey, you don't know. But now we know. And a lot of these people in this church know. And one thing I know, and this is not at all, I'm not trying to say that this vid, COVID, is not real, because I know, because I've unlike most people who refuse to look at other, and look at things other than what the media is telling us, other than what the so-called experts are telling us. I've been listening constantly to other people who are in the medical field, who are being censored, who are being shut down, who are being just destroyed because they're suggesting, or just questioning what's going on, the norm, the lockdowns and all that. And I'm coming from that area and coming here and then experience this. Granted, Florida is not in the lockdown nearly as where we are in Illinois, in the Chicago area. If you hear masks are volunteers, some stores they do require you to have one on. You go to the beaches, there's big signs that says 6 feet apart and all that stuff. Okay, but it's not nearly being shoved down our throats like it is back home. So at mass, I felt like, wow, I'm amongst people here who believe, who number one, aren't afraid to the point where where we stay home, we don't do anything, we don't live a life, we don't go to mass, we don't yearn for the Eucharist, for the sacrament. I'm amongst people who are just the opposite. And again, an outsider would probably walk in and think, man, and do a 360 and leave and say, man, this place is crazy. What do they think they're doing? This is a super spreader, right? How many super spreaders that they say that was supposed to have happened during Thanksgiving, during Christmas? All these things they're saying, oh, this is going to be a super spreader, and then later on, it didn't turn out to be a super spreader, right? So I was like, you know, my mind was going. I was elated, I was happy, but then I was thinking, now what is going on here? Because hey, I follow the real science. I know that this is. I know that this is the fastest spreading virus that's hit our society in a while. It's the fastest spreading. Yes, I know. The experts have convinced me and proven that to be, but they've also convinced and proven that even though it's the fastest spreading, it's not nearly as lethal as people are saying. Yes, yes. Those who are vulnerable. I'm not trying to say if you're vulnerable, if you're at that age, or if you have comorbidities and all that, you need to really be careful. You need to really be careful. But if you're healthy, and I consider myself pretty healthy. If you're healthy, okay, and like I said in my last yesterday my last live stream, you know, I have family that's gone through it. I know close friends have gone through it. They've all survived it. It's a nasty thing. You don't want it. Some people had it worse than others. Some it was just bad headaches. Some it took 2-3 weeks, but they're over and they're fine now. So, you know, I'm not trying to say in this thing that it's not real, because it is real. And because I know it's real and I know it's fast spreading, and I still don't want to get it. It's like I don't want to get it, like I don't want to get the normal flu or a stomach flu, or I just don't want to get sick, okay? Because I still need to work. I still want to feel healthy. You know, I just don't want. So I practice when in large areas, I'll put a mask on, but 90% of the times I won't. But if I'm crammed up with people, and you know, I'll do that, and I'll social distance. I'll wash my hands, be careful, because I know droplets and spreads and all that. So I'm not totally ignoring it. I'm listening to the science. And when I had the science going through my head at Mass this morning, I was thinking, these people have either been listening to the same experts, the same people I have, and are refusing to give in and are pushing back at all this craziness about the lockdowns and all this fear mongering, or they just don't know any better. And I don't think they don't know any better. I'm pretty convinced that they're like me, okay, that they've heard the experts, the so-called experts, and they've heard other experts being censors, and they see what's going on. They see the reality. They see that 99 point something percent of the people who contract this really survive this, as the CDC says. All right, that's the science. Okay, that doesn't mean we go around kissing and hugging and shaking every stranger. No. I'm not going there. I'm just telling you what's going through my head. Okay, so I'm at Mass and I'm thinking, I'm seeing all these people there, and I thought, and I got to tell you, I was honest to myself. I said, you know, what am I going to do here? I'm all the way in the back, and when it comes to receive our Lord, it's about 200 something people in front of me. So usually back home, I get to Mass early, and I, try to get kind of like towards the front, like I always do. But this year, it just made sense to do that even more, because there's less people in front of you to receive the Eucharist. Now, granted, let me tell you this though, in Chicago, so that for all you listening, a lot of a lot of the priests, the Fraternal Society of St. Peter, the diocesan Latin masses that I go to, and they actually sanitize. You know, when they before they go, every time the priest gives communion, I didn't notice until I had to look. They would tuck, and they would have some kind of a hand sanitizer here, and then they would do that. Or another priest would, you know, families, he would give communion and tongue, communion and tongue with the families, and then as soon as he went, the families were separated, and as soon as he went to another, he would reach out, and the altar server would disinfect his fingers with the spray. And I only knew that because first time I received the communion, I was like, whoa, I tasted alcohol, hand sanitizer on my tongue. And I realized, oh, he's disinfecting his fingers. And he's trying his best, like a good priest does, to make sure that we receive the sacraments, despite all the pushback, all the all the things that are going on with the bishops and superiors and all that. They're just trying not to get shut down. They're trying to make the sacraments available to us, which I appreciate. But over here, I was thinking, okay, this is Rex. This is for real now. Okay, I was asking myself, do you really believe that the body blood of Christ? That yes, I do. That the Eucharist is the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ. You know, I was thinking, you know, people you heard about, who's that? Gandhi, I think it was Mahatma Gandhi or something. He said something, it's quoted in the past, I've heard. He said something like, if Catholics really believed, he said something like, if Catholics believed in the Eucharist, that they would be crawling, you know, to receive it, something like that. But, you know, that thought came through my head, and I thought, you know what? I know the science. I know there's 200 something people that are going to receive the Eucharist, and I didn't see the priest disinfecting or anything special that I would see in Chicago. You know, and it came down to that moment of truth to myself, and I thought, you know what? If that Eucharist, if that host is really Christ's body, blood, and soul divinity, and it's hard because Jesus, you know, his body is not there, but if he were there, you know, people would drop whatever, the social distancing and all that, they would be going to him, you would think, right? But because he's not there physically, as far as the shape of a man, but he is there physically, but because we're not seeing him, and our faith tells us, our faith teaches us, and we believe, because it's our faith, that host is the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ, then we make every effort to receive him, especially in this new year. But being human and coming from an environment where it's just constantly pummeled down our heads about safe, that, you know, I call it now the S word. It used to be the S word before, it used to be something else. Oh, he said the S word. Now the S word now for me is safety. Okay, safety. You know, it's like everything is be safe, be safe, be safe. You could only be so safe. Yeah, Dennis Prager did this thing about safety not too long ago. Check out Dennis Prager on PragerU, and he makes a very rational point about safety, because, you know, half the stuff that we do, like driving and all these things, you know, you can only be so safe without living your life. And that's just living your life. That we're talking about your corporal, your temporal life. Well, now I'm talking about our spiritual life, our souls. So that was a moment of truth for me. It's like, you know what, Rex? You claim to believe Christ. You believe in it. You claim you have faith and all that, and yet you got 200 something people ahead of you, and here's the devil playing with my mind here. This is the devil, angel. This is one of those things where, because I believe in spiritual warfare. This is one of those things that the evil one just constantly tries to get into our heads. Like here's just what he was telling me today. Excuse me, it's kind of loud here. Hey, by the way, apologize for that music and all that fireworks yesterday at my other one. Tonight's a little bit quieter out here, but so let me get back to what I was just saying. So that moment of truth, in the evil one is putting these thoughts in my head. He's telling me, you don't know, Rex. He could be touching people's tongues. You hear every now and then that the priest will touch the tongue by accident. The person will stick their tongue up and it'll jerk or move or something and it'll touch. That's a possibility. I know there's people, some big Catholic podcasters out there, they claim, no, they don't never do that. But hey, it's happened to me. It's happened to me before. Some priests, especially the young ones who aren't experienced, sometimes that had happened. So the evil one's telling me in my head, saying, you know what, you got 200 something people ahead of you, and he's probably gonna be touching people's tongues, and you're gonna get that. You're gonna go up there, and you're gonna contract it. You're gonna get it, and it's all gonna be your fault because you weren't using your head. Come on, Rex, what are you thinking? It was at that point where you just say, you know what, get out of my way. Ignore those things and focus on who really is up there, who really is waiting for me, and that is Christ himself. Jesus Christ, body, blood, and soul of it. He's the one there waiting for me. And for me not to go up to him, despite all the things, despite all the possibilities, all these possibilities, that it came down to a moment of truth. And it's easy to say, oh, I'm going to receive it. But when I was put in that situation today, and I saw, it's like, you know what? I very well could. This very well could be my way of getting, because eventually I think, I don't know, I'm still waiting to get it. Eventually we're all going to get it, or a lot of people are going to get it, because it's just a fast spreading thing, and I'm not going to be taking this vaccine. And so I was thinking, so I get it. And if Christ allows that to happen, he allows it to happen. Okay, what's more important is I receive it. I'm in a state of grace. I try to continue to be in a state of worst case scenario, very worst case scenario. I get it, and I'm not part of that 99.9 something percent who survive. And there are people, unfortunately, who don't survive this. And that's a reality check. That's the reality check that was going through my head is, this is where walking and talking, this is where you either walk, you could talk the talk, but are you going to walk the walk? And nothing else matters but what God, what Christ is expecting or waiting for my reaction. So what do? I go to receive him. Because this is what we Catholics believe. This is what makes us Catholic. It's so sad. And some of you out there, I know, because I hear from other friends my age or older who have kids, teenagers, even adult kids, in their 20s, 30s, or whatnot. They may go to Mass. Well, saddest thing is a lot of them aren't even going to Mass anymore because of this. They say, well, the bishop says we don't have to go to Sunday Mass anymore, so we're going to stream Mass, stream it at home, right? That's the saddest thing. But even the sad thing is, those who do go, there's a lot of them who will just, you know what, take a pass. I'm going to stay right here. I will pray every part of the Mass, but when it comes to receiving communion, when it comes to going to the altar rail, I'm just not ready for that. And hey, if you are that one of those, I get it. You know, I'm not saying, I'm not calling anybody out on that, because I get it. You know, we're human, and I get how people. I used to think, what are people thinking? I used to like, don't they realize they don't believe in, they don't believe in the Eucharist? Do they really believe in it? But this morning, you know what? It dawned on me that, you know what? As much as a lot of people are trying their hardest to be a practicing Catholic, and we're living in a society that's feeding us so much fear, and that fear, if it leads that fear, if it leads us to, actually the fruit of that fear is distancing ourselves from God, distancing ourselves from Christ, it's not good. That's not good. But I get it though. And for all of you who are that way, I'm telling you, I'm being honest. I'm saying, hey, I understand. But you know, we all have to really, uh, yeah, we all have to really do a double check on that, and ask ourselves, you know, where are we spiritually? I'd ask me, where really am I, Rex? Rex, where are you really spiritually in your life? Okay, you can talk a good game, you know, you can, you know, but where are you really? Because now, uh, you don't have the comfort of a priest disinfecting his fingers. You don't have the comfort of the congregation keeping 6 feet apart, every other pew, and everything else, and all those things that I'm seeing back home. You don't have that. And now, I mean, there's a very good chance, and the likelihood is, I don't know what, but there's a very good chance that this is not SAFE, safe. Oh, so I, I, I I wanted to share that. I'm sharing this with you because, man, this church, this church, and the people that go there, it was so great to see so many Catholics. It was just opposite, total opposite of what I see back home. Total opposite. You know, and you know what it is? It is people who really are striving to live their Catholic faith the way we're supposed to live it. And I like that. I like that. Now, I'm not at all saying, again, I'm not all saying that we do stupid things. We get back to just ignoring the things about washing our hands and all that. I still wash my hands, and I'm still I'm still careful with just being around a whole bunch of people. You know, it's not because I'm afraid to die. I just don't want to. I don't want to get laid down for a few weeks or wherever, and just nobody likes to get sick. Okay, that's just, nobody likes to get sick. You know, I, but hey, people out there, come on. There's a point where, like 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 this morning, it was a good gut check for me. It was a good experience. I'm glad I went to that mass. It just had forced me to really contemplate on what it is to be Catholic. And to be Catholic is to receive that's the biggest thing that separates us from the Protestant denominations, is we are receiving Christ, really receiving. It's not just symbolism. It's just not, uh, uh, you know, it's not symbolism. It's the real thing. And I guess what I'm saying is, if you're struggling with this, if you're struggling with this and you're thinking about, should I still keep streaming masses and all that? Yeah, I'm encouraging you to yes, I'm going to use the S word. Yes, be safe. But I'm encouraging you to um, not let, I'll use the words from the orange man up in the white up on the hill said, don't let this thing dominate your life. And the biggest way to know that this is dominating your life is it's dominating your spiritual life. Because if it's dominating your spiritual life, man, we're talking about eternity here, right? We're talking about our souls. So we're letting this thing, and I'm talking about this thing, this vid thing, CO, vid, we're letting this thing keep us away from mass, keep us not away from it, and keep us away from receiving Christ, keeping us from receiving him the way we're supposed to, keeping us from desecrating him. Because what I'm also seeing back home are people going to traditional Latin mass. They get up to the to the to the to the to the communion rail, and I'm only seeing this in the diocesan Latin masses. Unfortunately, I haven't seen it yet at the Institute of Christ the King or the Fraternity of St. Peter. But I'm seeing it in the diocesan, and they would stick their hands out right there, kneeling, as we should be kneeling, but they would stick their hands out. And it's sad to see that the priests would put the Eucharist, knowing that every particle of that Eucharist is Christ. Not just every particle, every little crumb. All you got to do is, you've heard of that black glove test? Father Z and many other priests, you put a black glove on you, and you have the Eucharist put in your hands. You will see on microscope, you'll see tiny little particles, and nobody takes the time to check their hands, right? Oh, there's a particle, and they wait, okay, leftover. Man, I forgot. That's leftover. I think this is way, but it's been a while. But nobody checks to see if those particles in there, they just boom, boom, and then and whatever particles fall on the ground, people behind them step on them, and it's sad to see priests that are doing that for people who are offering their hands, rather than tell them, please receive on the tongue or spiritual communion, like that priest back home did. Instead of when his bishop told him, you cannot, when his bishop shut the mass down, number one, that was a bad thing. But then he shut down the Eucharist. He said, you cannot give the Eucharist on the tongue anymore. It has to be on the hand. When he did that, and being a good priest and being obedient, he said, for him, I guess it was a decision he made. It was a, prudence led him to say, hey, you know what? Until things change, rather than me put this on your hands, rather than me possibly desecrate our Lord, we're going to have spiritual communions until things change. And eventually, fortunately, things are back now at that church where we're receiving on the tongue again. But I hope this helps some of you out there, because if you're struggling with this whole thing, I would really recommend trying to just shutting off the news, shutting off all that you're hearing about from so-called experts, from what's his name, from him and all these other people who kept saying, oh, you're a grandma killer, you're gonna blah blah blah, and all these things, and listen to the real science, okay? Because we know who knows the real science. The people who know the real science, those are the ones who are saying lock down, don't do any, and then they turn around when nobody's looking. They take their masks off because they know the mask probably isn't going to help them, and then they go have parties with their friends, or with all these politicians are being caught now doing, they're in public, and those are the ones who know what the science is, but they refuse to let anybody know. They're going along with this whole fear mongering, this whole agenda that the left is pushing, that really is what's driving what is now people know as the Great Reset, right? So if you're struggling with that, please take your time and go on to LifeSite News. Check out Dr. Taylor Marshall. Check out a lot of the people who are trying to get the truth out there. And yes, use your common sense, be safe, and everything else. But again, don't let it dominate your life. This is 2021. Okay, 2021. Is it going to be fun? It's a rhyme. Who knows? It might be messy. We still don't know. And by the way, keep praying that on the political spectrum, on the political level of things, that we don't have to endure a gruesome 4 years. And maybe we will, maybe we won't. Who knows? But regardless, let's do a double take. Let's think twice about what the Eucharist is, what it is to be Catholic, and we need to discern and know the difference. Okay, we're not hearing enough from our bishops, from many bishops out there. There's some good bishops out there who are speaking the truth, but a lot of them are just pretty much, sitting down, shutting up to get along, right? And tolerating things just to get along, so they don't cause any waves or anything out there. But so that's what I have to say. Hope everybody had a happy New Year, 2021. Like I said yesterday, let's resolve to work on our spiritual life. That's the best resolution we can do. Okay. And yes, on a side note, if there's other things that we need to work on, our health, our finances, family, etc., our jobs, whatever, yes, but put all that under. Put that number 2, 3, 4, 5, but number 1 should be our spiritual well-being, our spiritual life, okay, our souls, and increase our prayer life, increase our sacramental life. Confessions, communion, proper way of communion, the liturgy, the Mass, connect to the traditional Latin Mass, connect to your roots as Catholics. Do all these things for this upcoming year. So I'm pretty beat. I was at the beach all day today. This place was wonderful. The sun got to my head, and I'm about ready to turn over. And want to wish everybody a happy New Year, and may God bless you. Until next time, like I always say, connect to your Catholic roots, make a Catholic difference, engage in life's spiritual battles. Don't just man up, don't just woman up. Be like St. Benedict, and Ben up. God bless you.